Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K. And last year, around this time, I did my ranking of every single Pokemon type because a friend of mine kind of suggested it because it was Pokemon Day, and I didn't know that for a good number of years. So, I wanted to expand on that. More so of just going the types again, I decided I'm going to take a page from... No, actually, you know what? I took that idea from Fawful's Minion. But this one, I'm doing it myself. I'm going over my top 13 favorites of every single Pokemon type. And for this startup, I've decided to go for the dragon types to start it off. Creatures of myth. Giant, powerful lizards that come in all different shapes, types, and sizes. What some may be some of the smallest and the most useless types of Pokemon ever evolve into the most ferocious creatures that we've ever faced. Now, a couple rules in this. I'm not just strictly going by, what is it? Basically, I'll do any evolutionaries. I'll do one of each from that evolutionary. For example, if I pick Baxcalibur, I can't pick its pre-evolution. I'm picking one from each evolutionary line if they have one, and if I like it that much, because either design wise, anything else, if I've used them in Pokemon. Now, granted, I've only ever played up to X and Y. I've never played Sword and Shield. I haven't played Violet and Scarlet. I haven't played the other ones because I don't have a Switch. I'm not getting one. But I've watched the anime a good number of times, up to a degree. So my enjoyment of these Pokemon are basically from design, the look of it, and basically the whole aesthetic of them. So let's start off with Gamer K's top 13 Dragon-type Pokemon. And why top 13? Because here on the Game Hub, only the odd can be number one. And in the future, I will be doing this for almost every single type. What I've done is I basically, in order to decide which type I do first and next, I have a wheel. I'll put every single typing on there. I'll spin it, and then I'll make the list accordingly. So let's start it off. Okay, so basically, for a majority of the newer Pokemon that have come out, E has basically given me a crash course when he would come over, bring his Switch, he'd play, he'd show me some of the new Pokemon, I'd watch the animes. The last of the animes, though, that I watched was, well, Ash beating Leon, and that was pretty much it for me. So, this Pokemon, even though it's a cool concept for the Dragon type, it's one that should have been used a little bit more. If I'm being fully honest, Cyclizar. I like the design and how it kind of looks like a pre-evolution of Koraidon and Miraidon. So, why didn't they utilize that in the game? Like, I don't think they fully thought this through. Why have this guy if he doesn't evolve or do anything? What they should have done in the story is, instead of giving you Koraidon or Miraidon immediately, what if they gave you Cyclizar first, making Cyclizar the poster boy for the game? Basically, he'll turn into a simplistic motorcycle mode where you can ride him and use him. And then he has to be in your party, or you can choose not to have him in your party, but he can still be your travel companion. Kind of like in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu. But have him be in your travel companion. And then near the end of the game, where they have the corrupted form of Miraidon and Koraidon, that's when you fight, and then Cyclizar gets beaten down, and then it finally fully evolves into its form, depending on which game you get. So, example, if you get the violet version, the villain will use Miraidon, so it will become Kouraidon, and vice versa for the other game. At least, I mean, that way it would make more sense and give this Pokemon something to do other than just looking like a pre-evolution that never happened. Man, I'm starting this off with a sore throat. But yeah, I like the concept of Cyclizar, but it should have been something way more later on. And now at number 12, we get a kind of a favorite of mine that was really, really cool in design. Didn't really become a big one in the anime until later on, which kind of ticked me off. I hate it in the anime when they don't fully evolve Pokemon until like late game or something else. To that extent, I have Haxorus. I love Haxorus' design and the whole evolutionary line of Axew to Axe Fracture and then Haxorus. Having the blades on his mouth curve into these wicked looking blades, the yellow-green scales on his body and how he looks like a great drake. And just the design of it is cool. I loved this Pokemon when it came out in black and white. I loved having an Axew and then just fully evolving it and seeing what it could be because I didn't know back in the day. And becoming a Haxorus, definitely one of my favorite dragon types. It's a little bit lower on the list because as cool as it is, it kind of just looks like a regular Drake and not, I mean, again, I love the design of it. I love Haxorus, but this is a Pokemon that I think should have gotten a Mega Evolution. A lot of pseudos get Megas, but he was left out. So, yeah. And again, he followed the trend of the cutesy-looking dragon evolving into something more ferocious, and I do love that trope. So, yeah, Haxorus, still at the bottom of the list, but still a great Pokemon. The Reggie series, and in this case, Reggie Draco. Not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna do a Reggie of every single type moving forward, but no. And the fact that this is like, since Diamond and Pearl, if I'm remembering correctly, we only got Reggie Gigas, and it wasn't until Sword and Shield that we got 2 new Reggies. And again, Reggie Draco. When I found out that they were going to be putting new Reggies into the game, I'm like, okay, are we going to be getting a Reggie Fire or something awesome? But Dragon. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, but making it turn sideways and becoming a dragon mouth? Yeah. Pretty interesting. And if I played the game, I would have had him on my team. Reggie Electric looks pretty cool, but Draco is definitely a Pokemon that I love. The design alone just works. The arms being the maws of the dragon, and again, it just has that cool look to it that I can't say anymore. This is probably going to be my shortest top 13 because there's not a lot of analysis I got to go through. Just ramming off my favorite dragons. That's pretty much it. But yeah, as far as new Reggies are concerned, I'm glad that the dragon type got an entry. Yeah. What the was this? Although, I will be honest, I do like the concept of it, and then it branching off into 2 different Pokemon, Flapple and Appleton. I'm not going to lie, it's a cool idea. But from the design alone, I was really like, okay, that's something. But at the same time, then they brought in the cotton candy apple in, and then it became Hydrapple. A Hydra cotton candy a candy apple dragon that has its heads hiding most of the time. What? When in the anime, if a wild one was going crazy, what were they supposed to do? I had to use that sound somehow, and I haven't seen any Hydra bosses coming up, so I don't know what to do. Hydrapple. Concept, really, really cool. Design? Okay, no, I'm switching that. Concept, really, really weird. Design actually works. It's just a shame that the Gigantamax form for all three are basically, it's the same. You couldn't do something different with it? Really? But you know what? We're starting off the list pretty good, and it only gets better from here. Going back to G1, where dragons were so scarce that there were only 3. And out of that evolutionary line, I'm picking the one and only Dragonair. I loved Dragonair as a kid. It was so sleek. It was the serpentine dragon with fairy wings. And, okay, especially in the anime when Ash fought Claire and it used the orb on its neck to create Dragon Rage or Twister. Dragonair was such a cool design. And again, it's so sleek. It's a serpentine type of dragon, and I love those. Because, okay, if there's one thing I dislike immensely is when a design is done to death, and it doesn't be really creative. Like dragon, okay, arms, legs, wings, fangs, done. But this one went so far different until it evolved into Dragonite. Even though I like Dragonite, I prefer Dragonair. And then the fucking Mega Evolution gave Dragonite the fairy wings on the head. Again, Dragonair, superior form. I kind of wish this was where it stuck. I mean, again, as I've gotten older, I think things differently from when I was a kid half the time. But yeah, Dragonair over Dragonite. That's my personal opinion. And now for one that I didn't think would be a dragon. Playing Scarlet X and Y? Yeah, X and Y. I got to see a whole bunch of different Pokemon, and one of them I thought was really cool was Skrelp, a poison water type that resembled a seahorse, which I really liked. And I loved mine. And then when it evolved and became Dragalge, a poison dragon, something that we don't have a lot of in the Pokemon universe, that isn't that legendary thing from Aloha. But Dragalge, the look of this thing is gorgeous. The purple colors with the brown accents, because for a seahorse, just makes this thing look so threatening and looks so cool. And again, it was one of my aces in X and Y. Definitely a poison type that I love to death. And definitely, and again, very unique typing, having a poison water become a poison dragon afterwards. Really ingenious. I just wish more Pokemon would have these kinds of changes as they evolve. But yeah, great Pokemon, great design, and again, it only gets better. One that I didn't expect to like so much, Noivern. Finally, they go for a wyvern aesthetic. Does it work? Well, considering it's a bat first and then it becomes a dragon, Kind of. I mean, again, design-wise, Noivern is great. That classic wyvern look with the hands attached to its wings, so it's not flying and it can use its wings for combat. I mean, it still can. But then having its head, the head have this sonic, this boombox kind of looking amp where it can use sound attacks coming out. It looks really, really slick. And I did like having a Noivern, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, I mean, it's still in the middle of the list because it's such a cool look. It's such a cool design. But again, after this is my top lists. My top tier for the dragon types. Hydreigon. A dark dragon that is a great evolutionary line. From a weird looking Brachiosaurus, emo Brachiosaurus kind of, to becoming a twin-headed weirdo that, again, doesn't look, who with a name that is so freaking hard to pronounce, and then turning into a flying dragon with its hands being its two other heads and mouths. Dark dragon type. And an absolute fucking menace of a dragon. I love Hydreigon so much. Again, kind of like Haxorus. I wish this guy got a Mega Evolution or a Gigantamax. Something. But no, they gave it a Paradox form instead. But again, I love this thing. The wings looking creepy as it flies. The whole fur on its body covering its neck and its arms. The way it looks, it reminds me of Ken from Beyblade Burst. Never thought I'd make a comparison to Beyblade Burst. But yeah, Hydreigon definitely deserves to be in my top 6. Let's continue. Remember when I said the dragon types have that common theme of having weak-looking creatures, but you have to work with them in order for them to become full dragons? Well, Sword and Shield took that concept and made a joke out of it with making a derpy-looking dragon whelp, aka calling it Derpy, and then having it fully evolve into a dragon and turn it into something that shoots out its previous evolution. If you know what I'm talking about the very rare type of mythical ancient dragon and terrifying spectral ghost, and gave us Dragapult. This thing is fun. If I played the game, I wish I had a Dragapult on my team. Being literally having its own attack, dragon darts, shooting derpies at you. So here's the thing that doesn't make sense. Do two other derpies follow the Dragapult after it evolves and then it becomes its ammo? Or do those derpies just go on them regardless? No, seriously, I need to know that. But anyway, the design alone is sick. Having it be Dragon Ghost, which kind of removes its necessary need for wings. Having it be this kind of creepy looking, sitting like this kind of creature with its giant catapult head shooting the derpies, and its ghostly tail kind of not being perfect, complete, giving it that mystical aspect. And the color palette. The color palette is perfect. They could have gone purple to make it again, the dragon type and also ghost, but they went with this kind of green and beiges kind of color, and the different tones of green and light highlights of pink. Dragapult is definitely a dragon that breaks the rules in terms of design-wise, without it having wings, without it having being a land dragon with that can't fly, and just making it float all over the place. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Is it bad to say I didn't get this one? But overall, between the two legendaries of black and white, I will say Reshiram is a better design for me. Even though I never played with it. I never played that game. I never got Reshiram. Because to me, Zekrom looked cooler when I was younger. Like, it was an electric dragon, which, again, we don't get that much of. And the black color with the red eye. And I know the joke is obvious. These two are basically these two of the Pokemon world. Laugh now. But then Reshiram, a fire dragon, white dragon with fur, wyvern-like wings, arms, and a wolf head with a giant tail, and it breathes fire. I'm sorry. How did I make this big mistake growing up when I was younger? Okay, to be fair, I was a teenager when Black and White came out, but still, Reshiram over Zekrom, I've learned in my age, and it's just a sick design, and it's pure white. It's pure white. I mean, you'd think, like, for a fire type, you'd give it, like, hints of red, like, along the fur or something. But this is a pure indication of design that isn't throwing so much on you. I kind of wish a lot more Pokemon designs would be a little bit more subtle, like Reshiram's design, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Okay, we are in the top 3 now, and these are some of the best. Going for what I think everyone's favorite pseudo-legendary is, and considering how great and terrible it was in the anime, and considering it's the ace of everyone's favorite Pokebaddie, Garchomp. A land shark! I'm sorry, guys. When you hear land shark, and I'm not talking about the beverage, how do you think land shark, dragon? I was high. If they ever did that, I expected like a water ground type, like Quagsire, but looking more shark-like reptilian, kind of like a shark mouth with the shark fins, and it's got like a Komodo dragon kind of look. That is a Pokemon animal that needs to be done. But yeah, Garchomp is just so threatening. First, Gibble, again, looking so comical and stupid, but then Gabite, but then, again, Garchomp with its non-traditional dragon look. And I don't care. This thing is a fucking menace, and I love it. With the blade arm and wicked claw with its dorsal fins, the sheer color palette of it, whether it's the blue in the game or the purplish look in the anime, with its shark-like tail, its giant fin on the back, from the weird shape of its head, this thing just screams power! And I can't get enough of Garchomp. I loved my Garchomp as a kid. With its amazing Giga Impact, Draco Meteor, Dragon Rage. Okay, and I gave it a little bit of an earthquake attack just to, dig. Because every time I used it, I always imagined in the animation it would dive in the ground and its dorsal fin would come up to attack. I was a geek. I'm always a geek, so I love it. Garchomp, and then they gave him a Mega Evolution, and It definitely divided some fans, I will say that. But nevertheless, Garchomp being my number 3 dragon type definitely says a lot. Because of its overall concept that a lot of people would think a different way of going with a land shark, but turning it into a dragon ground type just gives it an extra edge. And again, design-wise, concept, color palette, and again, this thing just yells and screams and exudes power. But sadly, it's only number 3, and that's because I'm biased. Number 2 is a Pokemon that has been... One second. I'm just gonna... This Pokemon has been a favorite of mine for so many years, since Gen 3. It was first a Pokemon that I really thought was annoying. But then I caught one, I loved it, it was good in battle, and then it became something completely different, and I loved the design. And then it became something even cooler, and I loved it. And since Gen 3... when did Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire come out?
Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire was published November 21st, 2002.
2002, so... Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way because I am biased with this Pokemon. For 2 decades, this dragon type has been screwed over so fucking much. I'm not even kidding. I'm not happy about it, and I hope I'm not the only one. I know Josh Scorcher has mentioned it. I know the Fawful's Minion has said it. I've seen it all over, and I'm glad I'm not the only one with this. Flygon! Are you fucking joking me? From an annoying little Trapinch that's a basic ground type, trapping everyone in its sand traps, to becoming a literal dragonfly-like creature, with it becoming a ground dragon type with its insect look, which is still one of my favorites to date, and then becoming Flygon, this elegant green, dark green and light green with those red bug-like eyes, looking like a really sick dragon, and again, a ground dragon type that can fly. So it's got all the gracefulness and power of a dragon type, yet still commands the element of earth. And for 20 years, we haven't given this thing an upgrade. No Mega, no Gigantamax, nothing. Are you out of your fucking mind? And then, if that wasn't the worst of it, you gave Yanma okay, you know what? I'm not going to bag on Yanmega. I love Yanmega. It's a dragonfly, and it looks freaking amazing. But the fact that so many undeserving Pokemon have been given Mega Evolutions in this recent DLC is fucking criminal. Given Victory Bell and what, Phalanx? A unevolving Spartans walking in the same line thing that they look like Goombas with armor. But you won't give Flygon, one of the most originally creative dragon types to date, an upgrade. I'm sorry. I'm salty about this. I don't care. Flygon is my second favorite dragon. Okay. He's my favorite. It's my favorite dragon to date. And I'm mad that nothing has been done about this amazing, 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 amazing Pokemon. Over 2 decades. And nothing. And yet you gave on Dean this Chansey knockoff, a Mega Evolution. I'm going to give myself a fucking headache with this video. But like I said, even though Flygon is my favorite dragon type, there is one that reigns over all of them. So, again, I love my ground dragon boy. But like I said, there's one dragon that rules them all. If you don't know who the #1 dragon type is on this list, you don't know Pokemon that well. I'm sorry. There is only one dragon type that rules over every other dragon in the Pokemon world. From its design, from its origin, to its sheer powerful presence. We all know, based on the Chinese design of dragon, with only arms and a body, no wings, Rayquaza rules as the best dragon type of all time. This thing is a menace. From the Pokemon movie Destiny Deoxys to just its overall design in the game, and also being so epic, so iconic that they make it a boss fight in Smash Bros. Brawl. How can you not love this dragon? And it was so epic, they gave it its own Mega Evolution and made it even badass with blades on it and just this amazing kind of mystical looking hair, whatever it is. There is no doubt in my mind that Flygon will be my personal favorite Pokemon for dragon types, but Rayquaza not being #1, honestly, I was this close to putting Rayquaza at #2 because Flygon's my favorite, but at the last minute, I couldn't fucking do it. A Pokemon this iconic, this legendary, this powerful, not being #1, I would have been heckled by Pokemon fans and some friends of mine. But yeah, a legendary dragon that has no equal. I mean, that's all I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine it getting a Gigantamax form if they bring that back in a future game. But yeah, the legendary dragon type rules all as the best dragon in Pokemon. And that's it for my video this week, ladies and gentlemen. If this is coming out next week or this week, but in regards, happy early Pokemon Day. And now, like, comment, subscribe down below. Thank you for joining in this video. Pokemon fans out there, like, comment, subscribe down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Join me next week, where I end the month of February, as we go back into the Marvel Universe, as we fight our heroes with our bare fist and pure strength, as we play one of the strongest one of the strongest villainesses in Marvel. And we're going to beat She-Hulk so bad that it's going to look like this. This is Gamer K, logging out.